Now I made this scarf using color blocks. I did 3 repeats of each of the 3 colors, and then in the other section I did 7 repeats of each of the 3 colors just to give it a blocky effect and to make the colors sort of change around as you wear it. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to learn this stitch pattern. Now I'm going to do a more narrow version just in the interest of time, and for those of you who are joining us who just need the joining row, which is a little fiddly, I will put the timestamp in the description below. So let me jump right in. The first thing I did was made my foundation chain. Now I chained 38 for this narrow version, but you can follow along with the pattern, and the pattern of course is free on my blog. So it says double crochet in the 4th chain from hook, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Those of you who follow me here know that I always start my projects in the back or the bump of the chain, or I would do if the yarn hadn't gotten away from me. So there's my double crochet in the 4th chain from hook, and then double crochet in each of the next 5 chain. So that's, let's see, 1, 5. So that's going to give me a total of 7 because the turning chain counts. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're going to chain 7, skip 7 chain, double crochet in each of the next 7 chains. So chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've chained 7 and I've skipped my 7 chain, and I'm going to double crochet in each of the next 7 chain, and I'm going to do that all the way across to the end. And earlier I said I chained 38 for this sample, but it was actually 37. I forgot how to math. So I'm going to double crochet in each of the next 7 chains, and then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to chain 7, I'm going to skip 7 chains, and I will double crochet in each of the last 7 chains. This is what it looks like at the end of row 1, more or less. Now it's going to tell you to chain 3 and turn. I'm going to do a standing stitch at the beginning because I think that makes my ends a little neat, but you can chain 3 turn if you want, or if you don't like my standing stitch, there are other ways to do it. So we're going to double crochet in each of the next 2, 1, 2, and now we're going to chain 1, skip 1 double crochet in the next double crochet twice. So chain 1, skip 1, double in the next double. Chain 1, skip 1, double in the next double. Now we're going to set up our little lacy stitch here in the middle. I have 7 chains there, and I'm going to work in the middle one, or the 4th one. Now earlier and on my other videos I always talk about how I like to work in the back or the bump of the chain, but it really doesn't matter. For this instance it's just one happy little single crochet there in the middle. So we're going to chain 3, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the 4th. Nope, I didn't get that all the way through, did I? There we go. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip the 3 chains, double crochet in the next double, chain 1, skip 1, double in the next double 3 times. Remember we did it 2 at the beginning, and we're going to only do it 2 at the end because I want a nice firm side edging on this piece so I don't have to go in and do another edging when I'm done. Now we're going to do that again. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the next chain, chain 3, skip 3 chain, double crochet in the next double crochet. So you're going to again follow along with the pattern on the blog for as many repeats as you have. Just remember we're going to end with 3 double crochet in a row, to give us a nice, neat side. Now, taking a look at the sample I made earlier, there's one thing I want you to note, which is going to help you if you put your work down, can't remember what row you're on. Your solid sections that are not part of the lace section are always going to alternate between a bunch of doubles and a bunch of mesh. A bunch of doubles, a bunch of mesh, a bunch of doubles, a bunch of mesh. That will help you figure out what row you're on if you can't remember. But also I just wanted to point that out because it's going to help you as we move forward with the pattern. So we're on row 3. Once again, I'm going to do a standing start. I've extended my loop. I've grabbed my yarn over behind my loop, and I'm working in the first stitch because I'm not doing a chain 3 turn. I'm using that standing stitch in the first stitch. And then I went ahead and finished my double. Now they are a little fatter than a regular double crochet, but I find that I prefer that to that kind of sloppy gap you can get sometimes if you've done a chain 3 turn. So I have double crocheted in each of the next 2 double crochet. Now it says double crochet and chain 1 space, double crochet and next double crochet twice. So double crochet in the space, double crochet in the double crochet 2 times. So we're going to do that one more time. Double crochet in the space, double crochet in the double crochet. Now we're at our little lacy section. Now when I was coming up in the crochet industry, we used to call these kinds of stitches spiderweb stitches. Does anybody call them that anymore? I have no idea. So now it's really easy to see what you're doing because you've already set it up. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to single in the single. And you don't have to count or guess. It's pretty easy to see. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to fill in our mesh. So we're jumping all the way over to the double. So double crochet in the double crochet in the space, etc. As many times as you have this repeat, depending on what size scarf or cowl you're making, because it's very cool to take these patterns that designers like me give you and customize them so that they look exactly like you want them to look. So let's just take a look at this one more time. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Jump over and single crochet in that single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Jump over to here and fill in my solid section. All right, that's the end of row 3. Row 4, I bet you could figure out without looking at the pattern. We're going to maintain our 3 double crochets at the end. So on either end, so whether you do a chain 3 or turn or you do a standing start like I do, you're going to have those 3 stitches. So this pattern always begins and ends with at least 3 double crochet. Now I have a solid row here, which means I need a mesh row here. So again, I can look at the pattern. It tells me chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one 2 times, but I don't really have to look at the pattern. I can just intuit. We call this reading your stitching. And once you get the hang of it, it's a lot easier than having to carry a pattern everywhere you go, right? Chain 3. We're going to address the lace sections the same way we did in the previous row. Single in our single, chain 3, jump over to the next one. So I'm on a mesh row, so it's chain 1, skip 1, double in the next double, remember you may have more repeats of the pattern. One, 2, 3, jump on over here. 1, whoops, 1, 2, 3, etc. Remember, I'm only going to have 2 chain 1 skip 1s on the end because I want those 3 double crochets to form their own border. All right, 1, 2. So we have completed rows 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's talk briefly what's going on with these guys down here, because they didn't get incorporated into any of the spider webs. This is what I talked about at the beginning of the video, that I have a very specific joining row to join this into a round, into a cowl, and we are going to get that in a little bit, but don't worry about these guys, we're going to hang out later. That said, we do need to have one of these long chains every time we're going to start a new spider web, or whatever you want to call that little lacy section. So this is row 5. And this is the row in which we're going to make that chain 7 happen. So the little spider web that we have done, the one that we've already worked on, that one's complete now. And now we're going to add our chain 7s in so we can start building the next column of spider webs. So we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and jump all the way over to the next double crochet. This is a solid row, so we're filling in our meshes. So we're crocheting in the chain 1 spaces and also in the double crochets. So you can see we're setting up our next spider web. So you can keep going as long as you want your little piece to be, or you can follow along with the pattern. And I'm going to put a few more sections on this, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do the joining row. All right, so you have made a long scarf or cowl, whatever you want. And if you're just joining us now because all you needed was the joining row, welcome. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to work what is essentially row 4 out of our repeat of row 2 to 5, but we need to join. So we did not put a twist in this. So here's the first row I made with our little floppy chain that I told you I would deal with at a later date. A later date has arrived. So once again, I made a standing double instead of a chain 3, but the instructions start with make a slip stitch in, let's see, what's it say? Slip stitch in the first chain on the row 1 foundation chain. So whether you have made a standing stitch or a chain 3, what you're going to do is go over and find the first stitch of the first row and make a slip stitch. So what we're going to do, let's see if I can show you a little neater here. This is row 1, the very first row that we made, and this is the last row that we made, and we're going to join it and fill in the missing row all at the same time. So we're going to double crochet. So the note tells you at the end of every double crochet or a chain stitch between double crochets, you're going to slip stitch in the adjacent stitch of row 1. So I just put in my second double crochet. So I'm going to look for my second chain right here and make a slip stitch. So I'm stitching and I'm joining. I'm making the next double crochet and a slip stitch. Now the next thing would be a chain 1. So I'm going to slip stitch in the next stitch on this side, skip 1 double crochet on this side, double crochet in the next one, I finished a double crochet, so it must be true that I have to make a slip stitch across the road. So the trick is to make sure the working yarn, because I did it sort of goofy before, you need to make sure your working yarn is on the other side, over by the first row. Skip that double crochet, make a double crochet here, make sure that yarn is over on the other side. We skipped one and we're going right here. So what we have, as I said, we are joining and stitching all at the same time. So now it says slip stitch in each of the next, let me see, slip stitch in the next 3 chains of the 7 skipped chains of row 1. So here's row 1. So we're going to slip stitch in the next 3 chains. It's just to get our yarn where we want it to be. So it's 1, 2, 3, and now single crochet in the single crochet of the last round, the row that you did, enclosing this guy. So I'm going to bring this guy down here and I'm going to single crochet, but I'm making sure that I am enclosing that chain when I do it. Now I'm going to single crochet in each of the next 3 chains. Remember, these are the 7 sloppy chains that were hanging out in row 1. Okay, once again, let's take a look at this. So you can see that sloppy chain that was hanging out there has been brought down and enclosed in this last spider web. So I'm just going to keep doing that all the way across. So I have 7 double crochets here, and I have 7 double crochets here. Remember, this is the opposite side of the foundation chain. So I'm going to double crochet on the last row that I made, get my yarn out of the way, slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch. Woof! Having a hard time getting my hook to listen to me today. Skip this guy, double crochet in the next one. So I'm in my 3rd double crochet of that 7. So I'm going to look over here. Here's my 3rd, slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch. Skip this guy, double crochet in the next one. Double crochet or slip stitch over here, chain 1, slip stitch, skip this guy, double crochet down here, and slip stitch. So once again, this is how we're stitching and joining all at the same time, and then let's look at the chains one more time. Slip stitch in each of the next 3 chains of row 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to single crochet in my spider web, but I'm going to make sure that single crochet covers up that chain. Now I'll slip stitch in each of these last 3 chains. 1, 2, 3, and then we're back at it again. We're going to double crochet and the double crochet on our side, slip stitch in the opposite side, etc. So you're going to repeat that mechanic all the way across, that little technical bit all the way across until you get to the very end. And again, if you're following along with the pattern in your blog, your piece is much wider than this one. You do have a very slight ridge here, but I'm here to tell you that nobody's going to see that. And if you're doing the color blocking the way we did it in the pattern, that is why we have ended our long panel with the same color that we started with, so that when we do this joining, it's all in the middle of the same color. You're not trying to join two different colors together, because you'd get a little shadow if you did that. So I hope you had fun hanging out with us for the Ruhpolding Cowl. Once again, drop over to the blog, pick up the free pattern, or you can purchase an ad-free copy on Ravelry. I will put a link in the description for the yarn. That's an affiliate link. The yarn was provided, and it's Uni Merino from Universal Yarns. And please like the video, subscribe to the channel, yada 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 yada. Oh wait, I wanted to show you the other side. Looks good on the other side too. So however you wear your cowl, it'll look terrific. All right, thanks so much. We'll see you again.